Hello and welcome to the Scientist Sage Sangha by Wise Heart Wellness. My name's Nancy Anderson Dolan, and I'm so happy to have you here. The Sangha is a place where we talk openly about all sorts of different things, leading with a particular word or short little phrase, and see about how we can use that in our lives in a useful way. And sometimes it's about learning something new, and sometimes it's about learning something we've forgotten. So, whatever that is for you tonight, I hope you enjoy it. And we are talking about letting. And when this came up, I was a little skeptical because I meditate a bit and I'm like, letting what? And it really, because it wasn't just one thing, it was about letting go for sure. That's what most people think of. But I sat longer and it was more about more things. And there's a wonderful article in the email that went out this week for this announcement, or actually last week, by Tony Zampella. And he's a designer of information at Bhavana Lee. And it talks about letting go, letting be, and letting come. When I saw that, I thought, oh, yeah, there's all those channels that we need to open up and do our letting in. And I add in my own personal life and practice of counseling about letting in, because a lot of people that I see and myself have trouble letting in some things. And it might just be simple like letting in different opinions or letting in love from someone. We might feel unworthy or overwhelmed. There's lots of interesting parts in letting in as well. So we're going to talk about each of those in individually, and then we'll have a discussion shortly about how that works out, particularly in your life, if you're with us live. So part of the thing about letting go is that there is so much coming so fast. And people will say, we've been through these cycles before in time, and we have, but we have never been able to access so much information about everything that's going on everywhere, and about technical things like how your brain works, and about 400 different opinions about how you can make your relationships work or your job work. There's so much information that we do a little bit of resistance to it. And we don't want to let it in. We don't want to let things go because we want to figure everything out and make it just right for us. And so it can be a little tricky. But the letting go part is part of how we filter the information. We let go and settle into the idea that the universe is going to curate information for us. We'll get what we need to know. And if we are able to let it go and just open up and let things in, then we'll get this stream of things and we'll know that some are for us and some are not. There's a useful practice of just asking all the time. If something comes towards me, is this for me? And if it's not, I just let it go. Is this important? I might fondle it for a little while and we'll see whether it's for me or not. But that idea of letting things come towards us, not chasing them, is a really important idea that Tony talks about in this article. Because we are sort of taught in a lot of what we would call first world societies to chase things rather than let them come to us. And so when we're chasing, it's harder to know what is ours, what we should open up to. And so that idea of letting, number one, we really have to slow down a bit to notice, first of all, what we might be holding on to so we know what to let go of. And you can tell often if you get quite compulsive about it. I help a lot of people let go of things in their homes, like physical things, decluttering and things like that, because they can't do it. They'll change their mind about this and they can't decide what to let that go and that sort of thing. And we'll just sit down and work through the emotions of it, because there's a lot of emotions involved in letting go. Often we try and move on to letting in, and letting come when we don't have the letting go part done. And if we don't let go of the past, there's not room for the future. And I certainly have been in homes where people have not let anything go for decades, and it becomes overwhelming for them. And so I really encourage a particular practice that I like is take away a few things all the time. And so you might have a weekly practice of just setting, that pencil case that never quite fit anything I liked, or that jacket that was too big for me, but I thought it was such a nice jacket, I didn't want to let it go. Things like that. And it just a practice to start that stream going. So moving it on to someone who can use it, or just moving it on to a Goodwill store so that it's out of my house and I'm not worried about, wasting it or anything like that. But then I just start a stream. And the same thing can happen in emotional things. If we do a little emotional hygiene, and I say it's a good time to do it is when you're brushing your teeth, because we do our hair, we do our face, we do our teeth, and to do our emotions at that time and let go a few things that might be rattling around in our hearts and heads can be really, really useful. And so while you're brushing your teeth, you might be thinking, oh man, I'm thinking about that again, that same old thing. And again, the same principles apply. You can say, is this important? Is there something I need to know about this? But if not, you can actually go, okay, I'm just going to let it go for this morning, and I put it down, I let it go when I put down my toothbrush. And so we can build little rituals like that to help our letting go. And that can be really, really useful to be able to start that, because the letting go is really the beginning of a lot of these other lettings. The letting be is that thing that I'm going to let go, but I'm going to put it down for now. Maybe not forever, but I'm going to let it be what it is right now. And letting be really is moving into that acceptance. So in letting go, a lot of people are working through a lot of emotional, you might call them barriers or hang-ups, or they're working through those sort of little clenches and things. But when I move through them, I can let things be a little better. Not all of us, especially in, these cultures that are so go, 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 you got to get this done, you got to do that. We're not that good at letting be, letting things develop. We're like, no, I'm sure I can make it a little better if I just do this. And it's hard to let it be. And so same sort of thing. This one is often much more a body-based kind of thing, where letting go is often, a head thing. I don't want to let that go. I might need it sometime. Scarcity kinds of thinking, things like that. But letting be really is about accepting things as they are. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we've had spring off and on for about 3 weeks. We get this lovely spring weather. The grass is turning green. You can actually see the grass and the tulips are popping up. And then we get a big dump of snow. And then everything's mucky and muddy and it's cold. And it's a test in letting be. Letting spring just develop as it does, just letting things be. And another place where we have trouble letting be is other people that are having difficulties often. And their difficulty might be affecting us. And letting that be is probably one of the hardest things that people do. And when you can do that often, the other person actually benefits from that. One of the practices that my teacher has taught me, my shamanic teacher, so if we feel like there's emotional energy coming towards us that's negative in some way or controlling or hurtful, we can literally brush our bodies, arms, hands, body, all the way down to your feet, and send it back to the person with love. Okay, not with malice, because we don't want to create more, but literally we send it back. So we're letting go of it. It's not ours. But when we hold it and we go, that person shouldn't have said that, and it's not good, and I should tell them about that. if they're already in a difficult space where they're doing those things, often that's not a message they can take in. But if we can let go of that, so we're out of the reactivity and then let them be, then we can take care of ourselves. And taking care of ourselves may mean that we remove ourselves from a situation, or we might set a boundary, or we might get some support in dealing with this, lots of things. But we let the situation be the way that it is. And then we sit in ourselves and see what we need, not trying to do something about a situation that isn't in our sphere. So, and in our sphere, I mean, a really close in our body, arm's reach, that kind of little sphere, not a big sphere here. Unless you are, you know, it really comes down to asking, is there something else I need to do about this person, for this person? You know, if you have a child, you know, and it doesn't matter whether they're a young child or an adult child, you know, is there something for me to do? Because sometimes there are those things, but a lot of the time it's just about letting it be. And when you let it be, you can find out if there's other things that you can do and find your place in it. You're not, you know, caretaking or, you know, people pleasing, but really sitting in it and letting it be and letting come to you what your part might be in it, or what you can contribute to it. And contribute, by contribute, I mean things like, can I bring some peace to this situation? Can I bring some clarity to the situation? There's lots of things that we can do, but we don't really do it effectively if we're not letting that stuff come to us. Often I'm uncomfortable, so I'm going to do something about that. That's not something coming towards me. I'm chasing it down the road already. So that idea, and then we let in, you know, what's going on. And so I can truly see how, okay, you know, maybe my finances aren't good, or maybe I really want to go back to school, or maybe my dog is sick. I can really let those realities in. And then the whole cycle comes around again. What can I let go of? What's mine to do something about? I had a wonderful text the other day, and somebody sent me a little poster on my social media saying, please show me what is mine to take care of today. And that's a beautiful letting be, letting come, letting go kind of thing. Just an idea, an orientation to take. So that's the big picture of all of this. And there are lots of ways to move through it. But one of the things that Tony talks about is a lot of slowing down, taking a pause. In 12-step practice, it's when agitated or doubtful. It's pause when agitated or doubtful, so that you can, you know, let go of what needs to be let go of, and really recognize that, wow, I am holding on to this, whatever it is. Maybe I'm holding on to it because I am just absolutely sure I could fix it for that person, whether they want me to or not. And sometimes it's awareness of, I'm just scared and I'm holding on. Or I'm just, you know, I have a more efficient way of doing things and I can make it happen, you know? And all of those require a little more letting go. And lots of times there are situations that just have to develop on their own. I remember both of my parents got Alzheimer's as they aged, and there's no, you can't do as much as you think you might be able to early on. You have to walk through the situation and do what you can at the time as things unfold. And that was not very comfortable, but it proved to be fairly effective to go through that and go, okay, what are the options right now? You know, what do I have to let be for now? And what are the next things? And letting ourselves move into that and fully connect with our feelings, because often our feelings are pushing us through things too fast because we're uncomfortable. And I just want to do something about it right now. And letting go does not top the list at that point. But when can, there is this awareness that opens up that literally it's like going like this. You're looking through a little tunnel and then it starts to go like that. And it's lovely. We can see more and we can be aware of feelings that maybe are just our old experiences coming up in reaction to this current situation. And maybe it is this real heart sense of this is some guidance that I need to work with. I've had so many things on so many cases about that. When my son was very young, I knew there was something not quite right, but nobody could tell us what it was. And I did all the things that I thought I could do. And then we just had to be with it. And we worked out more things just sitting with it on our own than we did in all of the consultations with all of the people that we, drug ourselves to. And then as he aged, it became more apparent, and we were able to get more technical kinds of help from outside sources. That one just, we couldn't do it earlier. It wouldn't have worked. So there's lots to talk about in the sense of releasing things, but also releasing the past. This is often people want to move forward before they've let go of the past. And Tony has a quote in there about work on the future goes best when we have let go of our past. Because if we are holding on to our past and trying to go to the future, it doesn't work out as well. So that idea about checking in when something is going on, do I need to let go of something? Just one moment to have a trouble. Okay. Now, the whole idea about recognizing what's going on, do I need to let go? Do I need to let be? Do I need to let something come to me? And do I need to let something in? These are all things that we might do one time or we might do a lot. And that is part of finding those things out, is if we need to do something, or is this just what they might call FOMO, fear of missing out, and it's driving me to want to do something. But that idea of checking in on each part of those and finding that out, it would be really useful to do. Like that time of toothbrushing. Okay, anything on my letting list that I need to attend to this week? Yeah. The other thing about it is that as we get better at these things, we have a much more open life. If I can let things come to me and go, I have this flow to my life that happens. I talk a lot about an idea of mental health that if we go to one side and we get too rigid, like we're hanging on to things and we just can't leave things alone, and we're really rigid like that, or if we're on the other side of the other bank of the river where things are really chaotic and we're not doing anything about anything, we're in trouble. But when we move through that flow in the middle, that really requires a lot of letting people be, letting old things go, letting those things come to us, the current as it will, to take us through life, that flow. And we can do that as we notice the resistance in our minds and in our bodies. Resistance in our bodies often acts up like upset stomachs, headaches, aches and pains from too much stress in our bodies. The resistance in our minds often comes up as figuring everything out. We're always planning stuff in our head and thinking about how we could do it better, how we could make it better, how it could be different. And if it was just like that, then it would have been better like this. And that cycle of fixing and figuring like that is a really good indication that we're not letting things go. And when we can find that out for ourselves, not running into the resistance of other people, it's much kinder for everybody. So first of all, we have to be with those things, and then we do the letting go, and we can look into them. We can look in, like, why can't I let this go? What's going on? And dig a little deeper, ask for direction, and do some practice. I have a few things that I'm practicing right now, letting go of. When I'm working on things, I'm doing a bunch of work on finances, and 1 minute I'll be, oh no, oh no, and the next one will be like, oh, that's really good, and then I go, oh no, and I'm like, wow, we're just gonna let this move. We're gonna let this come to me. So I don't have to be afraid, like not looking, and I don't have to be dissecting like this. And that really is the side back and forth, the rigid and chaos kind of experience. But if we can flow down the middle with letting things, it's an amazing relief to move through life. So, okay, we're going to close with a meditation. And I'll ask you to close your screen for now. Okay, go off camera for now. Thank you. Um, that's great. And for those of you that are with us live, we'll come back for a discussion after this. With those of you that are going to be finishing this YouTube and shutting it down, please feel free to contact me, Nancy Anderson Dolan at scientistsage@gmail.com, to have conversation, comments. I receive donations there through Interact, and just comments and things you might like to talk about during the Sangha. So let's start the meditation. Literally start by letting all the air go. I get a little excited when I talk about these things, and so I have to calm down and let that settle. And you might imagine your body relaxing, literally on a cellular level. Just letting go of any tension that it's accumulated today or over your life. And with each breath, we let go of the air. Sometimes we can feel like we've been holding our breath all day. Sometimes as we intentionally let go, we can feel muscles loosen up. And we might come across some restlessness or emotion that is there, or muscle soreness, and we can just let it be. You don't have to chase it out. We don't have to figure it out. We can just let it be. And then imagine opening up, maybe opening your mind, just opening your heart, letting in whatever is there, not judging it, not trying to change it, just letting it in. And as you open up your heart, you may find that you feel a sense of connection or love coming in. In shamanic practice, we always open up to the light and let the light come in and fill our bodies. Just letting that light in, moving wherever it wants to in our bodies. Not forcing, but just letting light come to us and move through us and move on. And if you'd like to, you could let that light go to people in your life that surround you. And it may be people that you care deeply for, but it may be people that you are having a conflict with. And just let the light move to them as well. And you might find that you are letting peace in as you open up to let things come in, as you open to let things move through and go out. And letting it be just whatever the experience is for you today. Mm. So the people that are with me live, please feel free to enjoy that for a few more moments. And those of you that are watching at a different time, thank you so much for tuning in. I would love for you to like or subscribe and share this if you feel it would be of benefit to someone. Thank you. I am with you. You are with me. Blessed be. Good night.